A secret clip has emerged online of John Mbadi claiming that William Ruto may lose in the coming elections. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates as they break, and kindly consider subscribing. Now, in a political and economic moment already fraught with tension, a recently circulated clip of Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, John Mbadi, has ignited a fresh controversy over sharpened public criticism of government handling of the nation's economic plight. The senior official's remarks emphasizing his personal financial security accrued through years of service were widely interpreted as tone-deaf, feeding into broader narrative of disconnect between leaders, or the leadership, and ordinary citizens struggling with the high cost of living, taxes, and also economic stagnation. The episode has prompted intense online debate and renewed scrutiny of fiscal policy and governance ahead of the 2027 general election. He said that even if William Ruto loses his election, therefore he may not sleep hungry, since the financial capability and muscle he has accrued in the past years will enable him feed his family for the longest time. During a formal address, the Treasury Cabinet Secretary publicly highlighted his personal financial readiness for the future, asserting he had accumulated enough and expressed a singular desire for progressive Kenya. Though likely intended to convey confidence in Kenya's long-term prospects, many observers described the delivery as arrogant and misaligned with the economic experience of ordinary Kenyans. Social media users swiftly labeled the comment as a Freudian slip, suggesting the official has privately considered that the administration faces serious economic and political headwinds, generating trending terms such as Wantam, Northern, shorthand for the widespread discontent and notion that the current government might serve only a single term. Critics argue that this moment reveals a deeper disconnect in tone and priorities. They say it underscores a government more conscious of its own security than the financial insecurity felt by millions of households. The controversy underscores how public perception of leadership rhetoric can significantly shape political legitimacy, especially when economic conditions are tight. Public opinion surveys over the past year illustrates a deep and growing economic unease across Kenya. A late 2025 Infotrack poll found that nearly half of Kenyans surveyed believe the economy will worsen in the 2026, with 34% fearing their personal finances will deteriorate, reflecting continued pressure from high living costs, taxation, and limited income growth. Separate research by Tifa Research, that is Trends and Insights of Africa, in September 2025 found that about 65% of Kenyans believe that the Finance Act of 2025 worsened the cost of living and eroded personal finances, citing effect on food, transport, utilities, and disposable income. Another poll revealed that 62% of citizens feel the country is heading the wrong direction, with dissatisfaction linked directly to economic management and recent policies, including tax measures. These figures paint a portrait of population under strain, one that increasingly views economic conditions and governance outcomes as poor or deteriorating. Kenya's macroeconomic backdrop adds important context to public frustration. Government debt has risen sharply in recent years and remains a central concern for analysts and investors alike. As of 2025, total public debt stood at roughly 65% of GDP, above many economists, a threshold for sustainable borrowing and raising concerns over long-term fiscal outlook. This debt dynamic affects Kenya's fiscal choices. Large portions of government revenue are now consumed by debt service, leaving less space for spending on health, education, infrastructure, and social support. Kenyan policymakers face the challenge of balancing revenue needs with the political and social tolerance for tax increases. though Kenya's revenue collection has shown resilience, with the Kenya Revenue Authority exceeding taxes or the targets in the 2024-2025. This is set against a broader narrative of households feeling squeezed with real incomes lagging behind rising prices and costs. Kenyan government officials, including the Treasury, have attempted to ease public anxiety by assuring no sharp increases in new taxes for the 2026-27 public and emphasizing public consultation in fiscal planning. Still, past efforts to raise taxes, notably the controversial 2024 finance bill, has sparked widespread protests, left a lingering memory of fiscal policy as a flashpoint for political mobilization. The broader political implication of the Treasury head's comments and the surrounding public reaction should not be underestimated. Kenya is now less than 2 years from the 2027 general election, and economic performance, including that of public perception of fairness, opportunity, and leadership responsiveness, is likely now to remain a central battleground. Youth-led protest movements such as the Gen Z mobilization in the 2024 and 2025 have already demonstrated the political potency of economic grievances, particularly when young people perceive policy choices as directly impacting their futures. Opinion data suggests that economic anxiety contributes not just to dissatisfaction with the current policy, but to broader skepticism about the direction of the country under the current government. When citizens rank economic management as a top issue, they want government action on, and when surveys show a majority believes economic conditions have worsened since the last election, and these sentiments become potent electoral liabilities. Critics of the government have seized on the Treasury official phrasing to argue that leaders are complacent about their own futures, while less attuned to the struggles faced by average Kenyans. Whether or not this reading reflects the official intent, the perception itself matters in politics, especially in an environment where economic concerns are widely shared. The fallout from one comment underscores an important truth about political communication in terms of economic stress. Rhetoric matters, and also especially when it touches on core issues that affect the daily lives of citizens. When public officials highlight personal success on security in ways perceived as disconnected from widespread hardship, the message can erode trust and deepen political divisions. This dynamic is particularly significant in nations like Kenya, where economic challenges, including high living costs, debt burdens, and uneven growth, are central to public discourse. Surveys showing widespread pessimism about the economy, its direction, and personal finances suggest that many Kenyans feel economic pressures acutely, and this environment elevates the political risk for leaders whose messages appear out of step with the public sentiment, especially as Kenya approaches a consequential election year. And in some, the reaction to the Treasury officials' comment reflect more than social media humor of a slip of the tongue. It highlights the fragile nexus between government credibility and economic performance, and as policymakers prepare for future budgets and political campaigns, public trust, shaped by both policies and the way leaders communicate about them, will be as critical as any fiscal measure. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media. Kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing.